An often forgotten part of what to grow in a food forest are crops that are a good source of fats and oils. And lucky for us, here in the tropics, it's not that hard to come by because of this amazing plant right here, the coconut. And today we're gonna squeeze this coconut and turn it into oil. The coconut tree is known to be one of those plants that has 1,000,001 uses. The juice is as good as fresh drinking water. The milk creates delicious recipes, and the oil can be used for cooking. The leaves used for roofs, and the wood for construction or musical instruments. There are so many things that could be done with the coconut tree. We're collecting older coconuts today, coconuts that have fallen to the ground already. They may not be the best for juice, but they're the best for milking. Lucky for us, we have a couple here on the ground, but watch out. Falling coconuts are a real hazard. I was in Mexico this past summer and I got hit by a falling coconut smack dab on my shoulder right here. It hurt like hell. Last thing you want to do is get hit by one of those. A couple inches over could have hit my head and I don't know where I would be today. Just remember to always be sure to look up. Anyway, these coconuts are perfect. Brown, lighter than the green ones. They're gonna be perfect meat coconuts. Next, we gotta husk these open. We're gonna either use a machete, but it's gonna be a little harder on a brown coconut. Machetes work better on green coconuts. You could also husk a coconut with a special tool like this one. Or just a sharpened stick sticking out of the ground where you can just drive that coconut in and rip that husk off. Now it's time to get inside these guys. You could try and save the juice that's inside by cutting off the top a little bit. Here you go. And just breaking it open and pouring out the juice so that you can enjoy it later. And then check this out. A buddy of mine showed me this. To crack open the coconut, all you need is a good sharp rock. And you got that baby cracked open. So let's go ahead and get the rest of our coconuts cracked open and we'll meet right back here at the shredder. So I got this coconut scraper on Amazon and I'll include a link for it down below. And I made this bench just out of a couple scrap 2x6s. And for no more than $10, I have myself the perfect workstation for shredding coconuts. We got to get all this meat out of here and into the bowl so that we could turn it into milk. Now this process does take some work. And if you got kids, this is a great job for them to do. Otherwise, sit back, watch a TV show while you do this, or just enjoy the process. After you're done shredding, you should have something that looks a little bit like this. This is a shredded coconut from about 6 coconuts. And now we're ready to milk it. Milking coconuts, who would have thought, right? Well, if we had a press, it would make this job really easy. You could just squeeze all the milk out. But we're gonna have to do this by hand because we're just a backyard off-grid homestead here. So in order to make the job a little bit easier, we're gonna use a little bit of hot water and that'll soften things up. And then just start to use your hands to squeeze. You can also use a cheesecloth for this process, but it's not really necessary. So with all this leftover coconut meat, we're gonna save it and reserve it for making other things like coconut flour, which I'll show you in a future video, so be sure to stay tuned. But for now, we're just gonna set this aside. And here we go. This is our milk. It still needs a little bit of straining. Oh man, can you believe that? Freshly squeezed coconut milk. Oh my God. Canned milk doesn't even compare to this. I gotta make more of this, but this is a video about showing you how we make oil. So let's go on to the next step. We're gonna pour our freshly squeezed coconut milk into a bowl, and then we're gonna cover it up for about 16 hours so that the cream and the water in the coconut milk have a chance to separate. Here it is, about 16 hours later. You can see the cream has really risen to the top and the water has settled down to the bottom. We're gonna now put this bowl into the freezer so that the coconut oil on the top has a chance to harden, and we could easily separate our layers out after that. You can see it's pretty easy to separate the harder cream oil layer from the watery milky layer down below. We're going to do our best to get everything that we can, and with whatever liquid that we have left over, you can use it in any old recipe that calls for coconut milk. And we're going to take the hardened coconut oil, put it in a sealed container, and leave it in the hot sun for a little bit over an hour until the liquid has a chance to separate. You can see here that it's all separated one more time. Sometimes you get a layer of curds and cream on the top, the oil in the middle, and another layer of curds and cream on the bottom, but it looks like today it's pretty clear on top. But if you have curds on top, go ahead and strain them off right now, and then we're going to put this back in the freezer for another 30 minutes so that the oil has a chance to harden and solidify once again, and so that we can pour off any remaining liquid really easily. And what you have left is your hardened coconut oil. There may still be a little bit of curds stuck to the bottom. Go ahead and scrape that off and then transfer that coconut oil over to a jar so that you can make it handy to grab some coconut oil whenever you need to use it in the kitchen. Can you believe that? Homemade coconut oil from coconuts growing on our very own off-grid homestead. Finding new ways to produce things like coconut oil here is my new thing this year. We're going to be diving deep into processing our own cinnamon, distilling our own homegrown vanilla, making flour out of cassava, and overall learning how to turn this amazing tropical abundance into food that we can eat. So you're going to want to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss any of it. And before you move on in the YouTube world, click on this video I made about harvesting salt. It's one I know that you're going to like. Until next time, everyone, ahui ho!